Welcome back to Mind Diagnosis Lab. Episode 5, Cognitive Behavioral Influences in Psychopathology. In this episode, we embark on a deep dive into the fascinating world of cognitive and behavioral influences on mental health. These models help explain how thoughts, emotions, learning, memory, and reinforcement patterns shape psychological disorders, and, importantly, how they guide effective therapies. Behavioral foundations: conditioning, reinforcement, and learning. Behaviorism brought a revolutionary idea. Human behavior can be understood through learning principles like classical and operant conditioning. Remember Pavlov's dog? That classical conditioning experiment showed how a neutral stimulus could become associated with an emotional reaction. Similarly, operant conditioning focuses on how rewards and punishments shape future behaviors. For example, behavioral activation therapy helps individuals with depression re-engage in rewarding activities. Why? Because depression often leads to withdrawal, reducing opportunities for positive reinforcement. Without that reinforcement, people spiral deeper into inactivity and low mood. By systematically adding small, rewarding tasks, therapists help rebuild positive emotional experiences. Let's not forget time out, a strategy familiar to many parents. It works by removing a child from a reinforcing environment, helping extinguish problematic behavior. But even adults sometimes need a version of time out, stepping away from situations that reinforce harmful patterns like aggression or avoidance. Another powerful tool is exposure therapy, used for phobias and anxiety. Based on classical conditioning, it involves facing a feared object or situation, like flying, dogs, or social interactions, until the fear diminishes because no harm occurs. This can happen in real life, in vivo, or through imaginal exposure when real-life practice isn't possible, such as for trauma or contamination fears. Beyond behavior, the rise of cognitive models. While behaviorism provided valuable insights, it often overlooked a crucial element: our thoughts and feelings. Enter cognitive science, which explores how we process, interpret, and remember experiences. Concepts like schemas, organized mental frameworks, attention, memory, and appraisal are central to understanding how people perceive their world and themselves. Imagine you walk into a room full of strangers. One person thinks, "This is exciting, I'll meet interesting people." Another thinks, "I'm going to embarrass myself." Same situation, radically different experiences. Why? Because their appraisals, their cognitive interpretations, shape their emotional and behavioral responses. People with anxiety often hyper-focus their attention on threats. Those with depression tend to filter the world through negative schemas, focusing on failures while discounting successes. For example, a woman whose partner praises her but also offers constructive criticism may fixate only on the criticism, reinforcing feelings of inadequacy. Beck's cognitive therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, psychiatrist Aaron Beck, revolutionized treatment with cognitive therapy, particularly for depression. His central insight: depression stems not just from external hardships, but from distorted thinking patterns. Beck's therapy helps individuals recognize negative automatic thoughts and cognitive distortions, challenge them, and develop more balanced perspectives. Therapists use techniques like cognitive restructuring, identifying and changing harmful thinking patterns. For example, a client might believe, "I'm a failure because my relationship ended." The therapist might guide them to see successes in other life areas: work achievements, meaningful friendships, personal resilience, helping them reframe their narrative. Third wave approaches: mindfulness and acceptance. Newer third-wave cognitive behavioral therapies add dimensions like mindfulness, acceptance, and values work. Dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, emphasizes emotional regulation, distress tolerance, and interpersonal effectiveness, often used for borderline personality disorder. Acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, teaches clients to accept painful emotions rather than avoid them, and commit to actions aligned with their core values. Mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, combines meditation and cognitive strategies to prevent depressive relapse. These therapies recognize that trying to eliminate all painful emotions is unrealistic and often counterproductive. Instead, they focus on changing how we relate to our thoughts and feelings. Cognitive science contributions: attention, schema, and the unconscious. Cognitive science highlights fascinating processes like implicit memory, unconscious influences on behavior. Studies show people can prefer previously seen shapes, even if they consciously don't recall them. Similarly, people with anxiety or depression may unconsciously absorb negative stimuli, shaping their perceptions without awareness. The concept of schema is powerful here. For example, someone with a danger schema may interpret a stranger on a porch as threatening, while another sees them as a harmless neighbor. This bias in interpreting ambiguous situations can fuel anxiety and hypervigilance. Sociocultural and emotional influences. Emotion is central to nearly every psychological disorder. Emotions help us navigate challenges, guide actions, and shape social connections. But when dysregulated, they can create suffering. Emotional disturbances may involve expression, how we outwardly show emotion; experience, how we subjectively feel; or physiology, the body's responses like heart rate or arousal. For example, people with schizophrenia may show blunted emotional expression, but report intense internal feelings, while those with panic disorder experience sudden, intense fear without external danger. Understanding these layers is key to treating emotional dysregulation. Interpersonal therapies and family systems. Interpersonal therapy, IPT, focuses on improving current relationships, helping individuals express feelings and addressing conflicts. Originally developed for depression, IPT is also effective for anxiety, eating disorders, and personality disorders. Couples therapy targets relationship distress, improving communication, satisfaction, and trust. And it's been shown to reduce depression just as effectively as individual therapy. Family therapy views psychological problems as embedded within family dynamics. For example, in treating conduct disorder, the focus may be on improving parental monitoring, while in bipolar disorder, family therapy often includes psychoeducation to help relatives support the patient effectively. Case example: Arthur's struggles with alcohol. Arthur grew up in a chaotic home with a father who drank heavily. Despite his difficult childhood, Arthur finished college, married, and secured a good job. But under the surface, he struggled with self-doubt and stress. As work pressures mounted and marital conflicts grew, Arthur's drinking escalated. From a cognitive behavioral lens, we'd focus on the reinforcement patterns, alcohol reducing anxiety temporarily, and cognitive distortions, negative self-beliefs. Therapy might aim to break these patterns, increase coping skills, and help Arthur build a healthier self-concept. Final reflections. Cognitive behavioral models revolutionized our understanding of psychopathology by integrating how learning, thinking, emotion, and social context interact to shape human experience. Most importantly, they offer tools, scientifically validated therapies, that empower people to reshape their lives. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll explore even more groundbreaking insights into the human mind. And remember, understanding your thoughts and patterns is the first step to transforming them.